This is Jed Disler, and welcome to The Piano Maven, your friendly podcast guide to piano recordings. And I thank you all for your steadfast support of this podcast. It means the world to me, and please continue to spread the word and to get all of your piano-loving friends and colleagues to join in the fun. I am a big fan of the pianist Sergei Kvitkos. He always has wonderful and interesting program ideas, and he brings off these ideas with the utmost virtuosity and aplomb, and he also gets the most gorgeous sound out of his instrument. I'm particularly fond of this release of his on the Blue Griffin label that features fantasias, variations, and his own transcriptions. The title of this disc is called Ad Libitum. It begins with the C major prelude from J.S. Bach's Well-Tempered Clavier Book 1, with a few extra notes added in. Sergei Kvitkos begins the prelude straightforwardly and innocently enough, but then he starts to add counter melodies, and these counter melodies start piling on to one another, and then there are scales and runs that are showing up, all these wild patterns. It's almost like people getting into a subway car and they're jostling to get a seat, and it's all crazy mayhem. I have a feeling that the pianist must have been multi-tracking on this selection, because I really couldn't imagine him playing all of the notes himself with just 2 hands and 10 fingers. The next selection on this disc is the Mozart Fantasy in D minor, Koschel 397. And here, Kvitkos goes a little wild in the faster music, which is okay. And he leans into the accents in a way that really grabs your attention. It's not your contained and chaste kind of Mozart, and that's perfectly fine by me. Also, there is his fresh and very imaginative and well-integrated interpretation of Haydn's variations in F minor, with all of the repeats and some very tasteful ornaments, too. Sergei Kvitkos plays the Escenas Románticas by Granados with as much idiomatic flair as anyone, and I don't think he has to take a backseat at all to Alicia de la Rocha. This disc ends with 2 transcriptions. Sergei Kvitkos' solo piano version of Terpak from Mussorgsky's Songs and Dances of Death features dark bass register writing, gloomy tremolos, and sweeping arpeggios, all that add urgency and intensity to the melody's various repetitions. And these effects never sound garish or self-serving. And the final selection is really cool. Kvitkos fleshes out the unaccompanied violin sonata number 3 by Eugene Isai in very effective pianistic terms. Now, it's true that double stops on the violin played as thirds or sixths, when transferred to the piano, don't have comparable tension. They have much more tension when you hear them played on the violin. However, it's interesting that Kvitkos largely stays within the violin's range until about 1.5 minutes into the piece, and then the piano's full range becomes rampantly available, and all of a sudden the music starts sounding like what might have happened if a Liszt Hungarian Rhapsody and César Franck's Prelude, Chorale, and Fugue got together and had a baby. I think it's a really terrific and very effective transcription, and I'm wondering what might happen if Sergei Kvitkos went ahead and made piano transcriptions of Eugene Isai's 5 other solo violin sonatas. I proposed that to him as a dare. Who knows if he will take me up on it? Maybe he already has done that. I have no idea. Anyway, this disc was recorded in 2012 and it was released in 2013. And now in 2024, this disc still provides me with great listening pleasure, and I was really happy to reconnect with it recently. It has a secure place in my CD collection, and hopefully it will find a place in your collection if you can get hold of it. This is Jed Disler, and you've been listening to The Piano Maven, your friendly podcast guide to piano recordings. And I look forward to being with you next time for the next episode.